Hi everybody, welcome back. Uh, in this stage, we are going to handle form submission for the first time. And this project stage will be reviewed by a reviewer. All right, so let's get started. We've got basically two tasks. We're going to improve the edit profile forms UX a little bit by pre-filling its form fields with the current user's data. And we're going to set up submission listeners and handlers for each form. Now, the handler for the edit profile modal will update the user's profile information so you can change what is displayed in the profile. The handler for the new post form won't be fully implemented yet. We'll just log something to the console for now. All right, so let's get started. We'll focus on this first task first. Filling the form fields when opening the modal. All right, so when the profile modal is open, the form's name and description fields, these things, should be filled in with the values that are currently displayed in the user's profile. To make this happen, you need to do two things. Select all the necessary elements. Well, I mean, you always need to do that. When you're going to interact with elements. So there's how many elements are involved here? Four elements. Give them descriptive names so you don't get them mixed up. Very easy to get them mixed up. They're different types of elements. These are text elements. These are input elements. When opening the form, assign the text content of each profile element to the value attribute of the corresponding input element. And remember how assignments work. When you're assigning something to something else, this piece goes on the right of the equal sign. Okay, so how about we'll break this up. Start by selecting the necessary elements. Try and get them all selected with nice descriptive names, and then unpause the video and we'll go from there. Okay, go here. Most important information that we need is in the HTML, because to select something, we need to know some way of identifying it. So we've got two text elements in the profile. We need to select them. I like to keep things organized. Here are these groups I'll keep together. Let's see. So const, what's a good name? Well, profile name L sounds pretty good to me. We'll search from the document. That's really the only option we have right now. We don't have any parents of this element selected already. And really, there's only one profile name element, only one profile description. So selecting from the document is perfectly fine. So there we are. Note that I put a dot in front because you need to, and that I spelled the class exactly the same. Same punctuation, same capitalization, same spelling. If you copy and paste that, all that really needs to be changed is change name to description. That's the obvious thing to call this. If we're calling the name element profile name L, well then we might as well call the description element profile description L. So only two small changes got us the second element. Now where do I go to find the other elements? These elements. They're probably somewhere down at the bottom. Yep, I just searched for modal. There they are. So it's the inputs, right? It's the input elements. We've got two of them. This is the name input. and this is the description input. How do we select these? Try to think this through. It should be clear once you think it through that we cannot use the classes, or at least not without. So the only way that we could select them based on the class and be able to get both is if we used query selector all to select all the elements with this class, but that will just be really difficult because then we just have an array and we need to match them up in order, which is a nightmare and very fragile. So you do not do that. So we don't use the class. So we're going to have to use the IDs. We could just search the document, but I won't, because A, it performs a little better if we just search inside a more immediate parent. So we already have selected the modal, this one. It contains the inputs we need. Therefore, we might as well search within that modal. So it's better performance, and also it is safer because you can eliminate the possibility of introducing some categories of errors later on. So edit profile name input. I won't say L. I don't think it's necessary. It's clear enough to me in that name that it's an element. And like I said, we can't use modal input because still there are two elements that would match that. So, I mean, we could use it for this one, but then how would we get this one? You know? So we will use the ID. When using an ID, you need to use a hash, profile dash name dash input, like that. And then I'll just copy and paste this. Do the same thing I did before. Description input, description input. Having this sort of regularity in how you are naming things it's not mandatory, but it really is very helpful in a lot of different ways. It's a good habit to get into. Okay, so elements are selected. I believe I did it all correctly. Now it's time to do the next part. When opening the form, so you gotta find where that code is getting done, assign the text content property of each profile element to the value attribute of the corresponding input element. Give it a try. Go find that where that code needs to go and try to do it, at least for the first one. And then you can unpause the video and I'll show you how. Okay, so we need the code that runs when we open the form. Well, we've got an event handler for that, right? We've done, you know, we set event handlers. Oh, where is it? This is the new post button. This is edit profile button, where we add the modal as open class to the profile modal. This is where that modal is being opened. So if we need to do something else when we're opening this modal, this is where we got to do it. We need to assign the text content of the name element to the value of the corresponding input. And as I mentioned before, the thing we're assigning to goes first. So edit profile name input dot value goes first. If you started with const, that would be incorrect. const is used to declare new variables. It's not used to assign new values to properties or to assign new values to variables either. It's just for declaring new stuff. The value property already exists. And even if the value property didn't exist, like if we just created a random property, you still wouldn't use const here because it's not a variable. It's a property of a variable. So value, and we are assigning the text content of that name input, the profile name L element, just like that. The text content grabs whatever is stored between the tags, basically. Not this, yeah, this, no, not that element. You know, it'll be of the correct element. So it's going to say like Bessie Coleman. That's what that's going to be. The value attribute is, it's not represented in the HTML typically, but it is going to appear over top of the placeholder. Like if the placeholder appears if the value is empty, and that's the case right now. Technically, the value is like this in our HTML. Well, I'm talking about this wrong form, but you get the idea. The value is an empty string, but this code will overwrite that empty string, give it a non-empty value, and then that will be displayed in place of the placeholder. Let's see if it worked. There we go. Bessie Coleman appears. Now, the other part to this is that once we submit the form and change this, the new value should also appear when we reopen this, but we're not going to be able to see that until we implement form submission. So there we are. And I'm going to leave this as an exercise for the for students. Description input, you know, implement the description input, fill its value with the current description element's text content. All right, that's it for now. And next time we'll work on the form submission.